Hello and welcome, I'm your Code Monkey. Here's a quick question: could you build Zelda Tears of the Kingdom in Unity? The answer is yes, you can. Alright, so thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Okay, so here's a bit more detail on that answer. Now, while I am saying you could definitely build a game like this in Unity, I am absolutely not dismissing the work the devs put into it. The game is excellent and it truly is a marvel of both design and engineering. The fact that this game, with this huge scale and so many interconnected systems, manages to run on what is essentially by now ancient hardware, that is truly amazing. Now, my first reason for saying you could definitely build a game like this in Unity is simply to look at other games on a similar scale that already exist. Best example is perhaps a game that was actually called a Breath of the Wild clone when it first came out. I'm talking about Genshin Impact, which a lot of people don't know is indeed made with Unity. When that game came out, people called it a clone, mostly because visually it does look indeed quite similar, even though they are very different games. But that game does also have a huge open world, it also has tons of characters and systems, and it works on PC, consoles, and even mobile. Valheim is another example of a massive game made with Unity. It features a huge world with tons of biomes, also has some pretty complex building mechanics, and all of it even while working in multiplayer. And perhaps the biggest one that I'm aware of is Dyson Sphere Program. Really excellent factory building game with an insane amount of moving objects and machines. You can build massive factories, and you don't just build on a single planet, but rather in the entire galaxy. So you really can't get a bigger scale than that. Looking at these, clearly as long as you and your team have the skills necessary, the engine is definitely capable of producing something on this scale. Although, like I said, while it is possible, it is not a trivial task. Making it work does require lots of smoke and mirrors, lots of trickery in the background. The most obvious one is simply LEDs, which Unity supports by default. If you're moving in Tears of the Kingdom and you look in the background, you will see the LEDs change quite a lot. The highest LED is unloaded when pretty close. That helps lower the number of polygons on screen despite having such a huge view distance. Same thing for the grass on the terrain, that one is also very limited in terms of distance. If you're actively trying to look for it, you will notice these things, but when playing the game normally, everything looks and plays great. You can implement these features in Unity. Another thing that I immediately noticed was right in the beginning, Link jumps off a sky island and floats down. For me, I'm playing on a projector with a very large image, and as he was falling, I could very clearly see some huge pixelation. So another very important trick they're using is simply reducing the render scale if there's a huge distance visible on screen. This is also something you can do in Unity in various ways. The render pipeline asset has a render scale that you can play with, and there's also a feature called dynamic resolution where you have very fine-grained control over how exactly your game renders. I have a lecture on this very obscure feature in my Ultimate Unity Overview course. By the way, the game that I'm using here to demonstrate these tricks is my upcoming Steam game Dinky Guardians. It's a fun co-op action automation building game. Check it out, I'll link in the description and add it to your wishlist. And one thing they have to do that Unity sadly doesn't have a built-in tool is world streaming. On a huge world, you can't really load the entire thing at once, especially on a memory-limited device like the Switch. To build that in Unity, you would probably need to combine some super low-res terrains for the faraway parts, and possibly work with some additive scene loading. Definitely takes some work, but it can be done. Then for the enemies, I would assume they also have some kind of AI LOD system, meaning that while the player is very far away, they probably only run some simple walking or patrolling AI, only when you get close do they start to enable some more complex behaviors. Note that while the game world is indeed huge, you don't really have any scenarios where you encounter tons and tons of enemies or moving objects at once. Most of it is really just terrain, which nowadays game engines are pretty good at handling. So if you use all of these techniques, then you too can build a game on this massive scale. So again, asking the question, can you build a game like Tears of the Kingdom in Unity? Yes, you can. Nowadays, pretty much every engine is excellent and can build pretty much any game you can imagine. You can make a giant open world game like Genshin Impact with Unity. You can make a sort of 2D, 3D game like Dragon Ball FighterZ with Unreal. You can make a very unique game like Cruelty Squad with Godot. So basically nowadays, whatever game idea you have and whatever game engine you have, as long as you have the skills, yes, you can build it. Oh, and if you need assets to make your huge open world games a reality, there's a huge Humble Bundle right now with over 5,000 assets for just 25 bucks. Alright, hope that's useful. Check out these videos to learn some more. Thanks to these awesome Patreon supporters for making these videos possible. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.